Hey there team, today I'm going to do another DIY rod rack. This time we're doing it on Sean's boat. So stick with us, hope you enjoy. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up. If you like what you see, go ahead and subscribe to Team Snag and Whiskers on YouTube. We greatly appreciate it. Enjoy. So Sean's rod rack is going to be a bit different because we're using the monster rod holders that were on his boat, and his boat does not have a tow bar like mine does, and so we are going to be using essentially the same materials with a bit of a twist. Mine uses 2 of the 1/2-inch perf tubing and 1 of the 1-inch. On Sean's, because we're going to go across the bow of his boat, we're going to use 2 of the 1-inch and 1 of the 1/2-inch. We're going to put the 2 1-inch on the outside of the 1/2-inch, bolt it down with these nuts and lock washers, and then we're going to use 1/2-inch threaded rod to go on the outside that will screw into the monster rod holder mounts that are already in the tracks on his boat. Here you're going to see his 6 rod holders. The top 3 are right-hand threaded rod holders, and because of the length of the threads and the distance between the perf tubing holes, I'll demonstrate. I had to use something because I don't have enough space to put a nut on top, and I run into the rubber coating on the top if I just want to put a nut on the bottom. So my way around that, excuse the noise, is by using a coupling nut. So I got this idea from Pontoon Jody. So on the underside of the perf tubing is going to go a 1/2-inch nut or 1/2-inch bolt on top of, and then on that 1/2-inch bolt is going to be a lock washer so it doesn't back itself off. On top of the perf tubing is going to be a 1/2-inch coupling nut, which will screw into that bolt. On the rod holder will be the nut like it has on the boat, like if you're putting it to a monster rod holder mount. It'll go on there, screw into the coupling nut, which will already be attached to the nut on the undercarriage. So it's going to sit up about, looks like 1.5 inches higher than mine cheaper ones currently do. Now, I also had to make some modifications to the left-handed threaded rod holders for the very same reason, the length of the threads. So on the left-handed, instead of a coupling nut, we're going with a 1.5-inch spacer, which will just slide over. The monster rod holder will then slide down into the hole, sit on that spacer, and then I can affix a nut and a lock washer to the bottom, and this should lock it in place. All right, we got the holes drilled for 2 of the rods holders. We're gonna do the other ones during installation so I can make sure I measure the distance we need in order to mount the threaded rods into the rod holders on the boat. So now we're gonna mount the 2 rod holders on each side. So the next step is going to have to be done during installation, because that's going to be putting the outside threaded 1/2-inch rods in place. But I can't put them on the perf tubing until we get them screwed into the monster rod holder mount. So that will be next step. We're on the boat and we're gonna do the installation. So I've got to put the 1/2-inch threaded rod in the rod holder. One of the things I said needed to be done, which is the reason I couldn't add the rod holders before, was we got to measure the distance across these 2 threaded rods, so I don't drill the wrong holes in the wrong place. So now we're going to undo the bolts and nuts, spread them out, get them in the right place, and then we'll lock everything down and put it on where it needs to go. The next step will be to finish putting the middle bolts in and then adding the additional rod holders.